Good afternoon, it's meteorologist Michael Fecca. Welcome back to the 2:30 afternoon weather and news streaming show. We do this every day, Monday through Friday. We'll start off with a look at our weather headlines and we'll transition over to a look at our news headlines with Jamie and Rob. So you don't want to go anywhere so you don't miss a beat on your news and weather. But in terms of the weather here, we're going to start it off. We do have that first alert weather day that we have had in effect since yesterday. That is actually for Saturday coming up this weekend. We do have the potential for a few severe storms, and we're looking at mainly a wind and hail and flooding threat, but you can't even completely rule out that chance for even a few spin-up tornadoes. So getting into a little bit more of the details here, looking at our day 4 severe storm probability outlook from the Storm Prediction Center, you can see a portion of the tri-state has been highlighted in that level 2 or that 15% chance for severe thunderstorms. Now I will say, at least compared to yesterday, some better news. More of the tri-state was actually included within that risk. Yesterday, however, that has shifted off to our southwest, but we do still have that threat there for portions of southern Illinois and western Kentucky. So we still have that first alert in effect for Saturday. Again, it looks like we could have a few severe thunderstorms, not necessarily a widespread severe weather outbreak, but at least something that you may want to keep your eyes on, especially as we head towards the weekend. We know a lot of people do things outside, especially this time of year when the weather is typically nice, and these storms looking like they're coming in the later half of the day. So I'll break down the timing of that looking at our European model right here. So we'll start it off on Friday. This is actually early Friday morning. The front is still way out to our west, so that's not really going to impact us until Saturday, but we do have some clouds that will stream through for the end of the work week there, but will remain dry. And it looks like we probably will even stay on the drier side as we get up for Saturday. I think much of the day on Saturday, outside of maybe a stray shower or a storm out ahead of the front, we really don't have much going on until that front moves in late in the afternoon. And this has also started to trend a little bit later timing wise for the day. So this may actually end up just moving in straight up Saturday evening and through the overnight hours into early Sunday morning, with some lingering showers continuing possibly throughout the day on Sunday. But that main thunderstorm threat, where there could be some strong to severe storms, would be right up and along the leading edge of that cold front as it moves in for Saturday evening there. So that is what we're looking at timing-wise, likely that second half of the day on Saturday. However, we are still a good amount of time away from it. We are going to likely still see some shifting with that timing. So looking like at least the afternoon and into the evening hours before we dry things out for the start of next week. So that is all on a Saturday. We're also looking at the potential for a good amount of rainfall across the tri-state. So we could pick up anywhere between maybe even a half an inch up to an inch and a half in some spots. And of course, there could be some localized pockets closer to 2 inches, especially for any folks that get into a heavier thunderstorm or see multiple storms roll through over the same spot. So just to kind of wrap up what information we do have about what is headed our way for Saturday, we know that there is the potential for at least a few strong to severe storms at this current time. We aren't expecting a widespread severe weather outbreak, but we do anticipate at least a few warnings to go off. It looks like all hazards could be possible, but it looks like the main hazards are definitely going to be damaging wind gusts and that flooding threat, but you can't completely rule out that chance for even some hail or a brief spin-up tornado. And again, that's mostly going to be for Saturday evening and into the overnight hours, with just some lingering showers hanging around throughout the day on Sunday. So that is why Saturday is that primary potential for that severe threat. So that is that first alert. Now that we've covered all of that information, we'll go through with the rest of our forecast here. Looks like our sky cam just blacked out a little bit there, but it is sunny and warm out there. You just can't see it. And we will be slightly cool as we go through the day tomorrow and into Friday before we start to see those temperatures warm back up ahead of that front for Saturday. It looks like our temperatures having a little bit of an issue with our data. Okay, there we go. Now we're starting to see it load. 79 degrees right now here in Evansville, 77 in Newburgh. A lot of us hanging out in the upper 70s and low 80s, especially in southern Illinois, 81 out towards Flora and Mount Carmel. Well, looking at our setup, we have high pressure anchored just off to our southwest, and this ridge has kind of allowed any bad weather to kind of just circle around the Mississippi Mississippi and Ohio River Valley, so we aren't seeing anything in the tri-state, but just off to our northwest, we do have a few spotty showers associated with a warm front, and then well off to our west in the mountains, and that had actually just pushed into the coast of California over the last few days. That is that low we're going to be tracking that is going to be bringing us that potential for some of those storms this weekend. So getting a closer look at our area here in the tri-state, again, we're not tracking out any showers. It is mostly sunny out there and quiet. We'll stay quiet through the rest of the day today, maybe warming on another degree or two, but by tonight, staying clear, east-northeasterly winds between 2 to 5 miles per hour. We'll see temperatures dropping back down into the mid-50s overnight. We'll warm back up only into the mid-70s for tomorrow. So again, a little bit cooler tomorrow than we have been for the last few days, but still plenty warm out there, and that's actually still well above average for this time of year. Our typical temperatures are usually sitting in the low 70s. But looking at our rain storm chances, we are going to be dry here outside of those chances for Saturday and lingering into Sunday. It doesn't look like we have a whole lot more opportunity for rainfall in the coming days, which is unfortunate because if we look at our drought monitor, now of course this updated last Thursday, but we did get that good rainfall Monday and Tuesday of last week, and that actually helped take a good bite out of a lot of the drought. So now the majority of western Kentucky and southwestern Indiana either have no drought or just abnormally dry areas, whereas some folks in southern Illinois not quite as lucky, still dealing with mostly moderate drought conditions and even some areas of severe drought included within our portion of southern Illinois. So still definitely need some rainfall, but we have put a good pause on at least its progression, and hopefully with a little bit more rain as we go through the next couple of days, especially this weekend, that will at least keep it at bay from keeping it getting any worse. But looking at our temperatures so far for the month of October, it has been warm, no surprise there, very above average, especially through the start of the month. We were topping out well into the 80s, and then we finally started to cool off a bit once we got into Fall Festival week, especially the second half of the work week. Remember, highs were only topping out in the lower 70s, barely even escaped 60 degrees or out of the 60s on October 10th, and then we've been gradually warmer through this past week and the last few days, topping out in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees. Now, in terms of our precipitation, we haven't really seen many days where we've gotten measurable precipitation, but actually the total amount of rain we've gotten so far for the month actually puts us in a surplus. We've picked up around 2.77 inches of rainfall, but it was all from the rain we got last Monday and Tuesday. But that is a 1.22 inches above where we should be, and for the year we've remained in a surplus over 10.5 inches for where we should be this time of year, and our temperatures, not surprising, nearly 5 degrees above where they should be. Now, looking at our outlook here for the next 6 to 10 days, we're not really expecting any huge change in our weather pattern. Should be typically normal for this time of year. A couple of chances for showers and storms, some good amount of dry time in between, but nothing looking like we will have any sort of significant rainfall amounts. We'll get maybe an inch or two through the next week, but that's also good news because we don't really want to contend with too much of that flooding threat, even though that is possible with any thunderstorm that develops this weekend. It doesn't look like we're going to be entering at least that active wet pattern where we're seeing showers every day. But what we are noticing is we are still going to be pretty warm. So our temperatures are expected to remain at least right around normal or slightly above through the next 6 to 10 days. So after that cold front clears out of here for Saturday, temperatures drop all the way down even below average for Sunday, topping out only in the mid 60s, and then we'll hang out in the low to mid 70s and upper 60s through much of next week. So slightly above average, but getting better. It's starting to feel more and more like fall as we go through the month of October here. And I think that's kind of what we're all hoping. We're all sick and tired of the warmer weather. But that is all I've got here for the forecast. Let me actually go ahead and change out this 7-day. I have the wrong one up here for you just so we don't have any confusion with what day that first alert is on. That is going to be for Saturday. So taking that full screen here up until we get into this weekend, we really don't have a lot to contend with got plenty of sunshine today, tomorrow, and Friday. Temps topping out in the upper 70s for most of us, especially today. Tomorrow, a little bit cooler out there, and then back up into the low 80s for Saturday ahead of that front. Again, we're expecting some scattered showers and thunderstorms along the leading edge of that front for Saturday afternoon and evening hours. We could see even a few strong to severe storms, but we're still not expecting widespread severe weather. However, it is still something we want you to pay attention to. And then after the main threat of thunderstorms exits Saturday overnight, we'll have a few lingering showers there through Sunday, but temperatures really chilling out, only topping out in the mid 60s for the second half of the weekend before gradually warming back up into the lower 70s by the start of next week. So that is all I've got here for the forecast. I'm going to hop off the live stream and I'll send things over to Jamie and Rob for a look at our top news headlines.
Stay informed on your local news and weather throughout the day by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows. At 8:30 a.m., get your First Alert forecast to plan the day ahead and catch up on the news that happened overnight with the 14 News Sunrise team. In the afternoon, get the latest headlines, forecasts, and a preview of the stories we're working on with the 14 First Alert streaming show at 2:30. And get an in-depth look at the 14 First Alert forecast so you're ready for the next big thing with the 14 First Alert weather show at 9 p.m. Watch the 14 First Alert streaming show that fits your schedule and works best for you. Streaming on your phone by downloading the 14 News app and the 14 First Alert weather app. On your smart TV by using the 14 News streaming app. And stream anytime on Facebook, YouTube, or on 14news.com. Stay connected and stay informed by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows on your favorite streaming devices. Live from 14 News, this is a 14 Digital News Desk update.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our 2:30 streaming show. I'm Jamie French.
And I'm Robinson Miles. Of course, there is a lot happening around the Tri-State today, so let's go ahead and just jump right in. Our first headline is that Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear is sending a large chunk of money to help people move out of flood-prone areas. Now, over $118 million will be spread out to 6 counties, including McLean County.
Yeah, earlier this year, McLean County was hit by a record-setting flood, which caused widespread damage. Now, if residents accept this assistance, the money will be used to buy out their properties in those flood-prone areas so they can move to somewhere safer. Judge Executive Curtis Dame says these buyouts will help our people get a fair price for their property and, of course, just make sure they're living in a safe environment. McLean County's always flooding. I mean, being from Western Kentucky, I know this. Those poor people in those same specific areas, every time we have a lot of rain, they're very prone to those floods.
You know, that's something we saw, and the story refers to that too, but earlier this year where everywhere got hit so hard, it's like, it's a bummer, especially if you've kind of put down roots in an area, but that's something we think about, so you don't have to keep having that experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we made it halfway through the week, everybody, and I think you've earned a fun animal story. That
Some
is
good
right.
news here.
You did it, and we recognize that you did it. Here's your prize. Evansville Animal Control officers saved the life of a puppy who was stuck in tar.
Look at this little guy's face. The director of Evansville Animal Care and Control, Missy Mosby, posted this picture online, and she said that officers McDowell and Pavlicek acted quickly. They saved this dog that was stuck. Mosby posted the pictures right here, and she says the dog, they have now named him Venom.
Amazing.
Is cleaned up. He's recovering at the animal control facility. He's doing all right. Hey, heroes don't always wear capes.
See, that
they
is
wear
so true.
EPD uniforms.
You know, let me loop you into one of my favorite things in the world. Any animal name. Just anywhere where it hits. When I first read this script, I thought, oh, like giving a little tiny dog like a hardcore name. That's hilarious.
Yes.
It's like, but actually, I find humor in anything along that spectrum.
Yes.
You name a tiny dog Venom.
Look at this face. Venom.
That's hilarious. Or if you go to the other side of the spectrum, if you would have named him like Dave, hilarious.
It would have been great.
All of
you
it.
could have given that puppy any name, and he's
Amazing.
just so precious.
Anywhere on the spectrum, love it. You nailed it. terrific.
Also, so glad the puppy's okay.
Right?
Great story.
Tar Dog, you done it. Hope you find an amazing home.
You made our
You
day.
have earned it. All right, well, that's going to round out our streaming show here today. Of course, there is a lot more happening around the tri-state, so be sure to tune in for 14 News at 4, 5, and 6 ahead, or, of course, again this evening at 10.
All right, thanks for watching this